Welcome to another edition of Cool Cars, Interesting People. Today, Kathy Matkin Clapton. Now, if you've got a child who is interested in music at all, chances are they sang under the direction of Kathy. She's a wonderful lady. We'll talk about music. We'll talk about all kinds of things in her life. And our vehicle, a 2016 Cadillac SRX from Murray Chev Cadillac. Dave Scullin, he is the Cadillac of car salesmen. Dave, how are you? Good to see you. Now let's talk about, when you say Cadillac, you're always talking about quality and amazing workmanship.
Well, Cadillac over the years has developed a reputation, and it used to be the standard of everything was compared to Cadillac.
Right.
Years ago, we had some issues with some of the product line, but the last few years, and starting with this generation of vehicle in 2010, was a wonderful transformation. From safety features to comfort to convenience to pretty much anything you want to get into the car is available today, but it's just an exciting vehicle. Direct injected 3.6 V6, wonderful performance, great economy, but
and again, all of the safety issues. I'm just amazed by all of the issues that the safety standards that we have.
Well, it is quite nice because in today's busy world, sometimes I'm not saying people are distracted, but it doesn't take very long to maybe miss something. With some of the features, whether you be out on the highway and maybe the person in front of you isn't traveling the same speed. With the forward collision alert, the radar and the camera in front will scan and alert you if you are closing in too quickly. The seat vibrates, or we can have an audible tone. It will, up on the windshield, will give a little hologram of 4 little dots and flash. If we're not paying attention and maybe we wander out of our lane a little bit, the lane departure warning will let you know that somebody's not in your blind side, because sometimes people sneak up pretty quickly. It will alert you to that. The forward scanners when we're parking or rear parking, it's pretty incredible. It's just wonderful.
I hear the stereo is pretty amazing in there.
Well, Bose has got a reputation for pretty fine audio, and they run a Bose Automos system in there that is absolutely incredible.
Looking forward to driving it. We're going to go find Kathy over at Casa this morning. Thanks so much.
You're welcome, Mark. Have a good day.
Kathy hangs out here at the Casa. She does some teaching here, so we'll go find her. And oh, Kathy!
Hello, Mark. What a coincidence seeing you
Have
here.
we got some Gouda for the cheese that we just did? We're going to the chef's hat for some coffee. Now, you don't need a chef's hat, but it would be nice.
Is it in a chef's hat?
Well, let's go find out.
Okay, sounds great.
So, since you are like the Cadillac of choral directors, we got a Cadillac for you. 2016 Cadillac.
Well, I do like to refer to myself as classy with a K, so this just makes sense.
Excellent. Here we go.
Wow.
It's the 2016 SRX. In you go.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Ooh, very nice.
That's cool. There we go. All right. Oh, see? Good sound on here too, huh?
That's awesome.
Turn that down. Okay. See, look, you can look back and see where you're going. Woohoo!
Or you can look back and see where you're going. Either way.
In demonstration mode, connected by OnStar's high-speed 4G connection. Press the blue OnStar button to learn more.
What? It's talking to us. Just talk to us. Did you heard that? It's not just me, right?
No, I heard it too.
Good. So, Kathy, what was your real first car when you were getting into cars?
Well, my first car I bought at 17.
17?
And it was a Mercury Comet.
Wow.
Which
Mercury
sounds
Comet.
a lot fancier than it was.
I think we used to own a Comet at one time. We used to call it the Vomit Comet, I believe.
Well, mine did have 4 doors and fun fur in the back. That was exciting.
Fun fur, really?
Fun fur, pink fun fur. And then dice, of course, hanging from
Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And why?
It was the 80s. That's what we did. So,
very nice.
Yeah, but the first car I really loved was a Volkswagen Beetle.
Really?
Yes. Oh my gosh, I loved that car. It was a bright yellow Beetle, had a little sunroof, but the heater didn't work.
I've heard, yes, yeah.
And so I have very fond memories of driving home from university, driving, east down Whoop Up Drive while scraping the windshield.
You know, you're supposed
and
to
sometimes
scrape it,
doing
yeah.
this while I drove. And it was a standard, so it really required some deft skills.
It is terrible what I do anyway, for sure. Is when you get lazy and you don't want to scrape much in the wintertime, and you're willing to take a chance, risk your life with a little oh, I'm good.
Well, it wasn't even that I wasn't willing, like it actually didn't work. So there was literally no way to defrost the inside. The outside I could have scraped, and I did, and then I also scraped the inside. But no matter how long I'd sat there, it wouldn't have defrosted on its own. And that was back in the day when it was actually really cold in the wintertime.
Yeah, those days are so long ago. This has been a nuts February, hasn't it?
It's been beautiful.
Yeah. Are you? Does that bother you?
No, not at all.
Good.
Does it bother you?
No, you know what? I've always I hope that there's lots of snow in the mountains for all the skiers. My biggest thing is I just want the roads to be nice.
True.
You know, and just driving and be good, and not be minus 40. I'm against minus 40. I'm about a minus 15 guy.
Minus 15 is perfect.
Yeah, for the that's sort of how I've got. Maybe a little when I was a little younger I could handle it, but I know we've had a few winters where it was just stupid how cold it was for a long period of time.
Yes.
And just waiting for the Chinook.
Very true.
Yeah. No, that's good. So, University of Lethbridge.
Yes.
And then you went where?
Well, I started at the University of Lethbridge,
Yep.
and then I did 3 years of my degree there, and I was studying with George Evelyn in the music department, which
very
was
good,
a phenomenal start for me as a singer and as a conductor.
Yeah.
He's a great mentor for me.
Yeah.
And then I transferred to Dalhousie University in Halifax, to finish my undergraduate degree, which was an incredible experience. So at that time, it was a really great program because it was a Bachelor of Music education. It wasn't a Bachelor of Music and a Bachelor of Education, and I really, really, really wanted to teach.
Yeah, yeah.
And I really wanted to teach elementary.
Really?
And so they just had a very fine elementary music education program there at the time that was very Kodai based. I don't know if you've heard of Kodai.
Kodai, no. Is that sort of a form of tuna? I'll take the Kodai, please. Yes. Don't cheap it up.
Well, we are driving in a Cadillac.
Yeah, that's right.
So it makes sense that we'd only go for high class tuna.
Yeah, that's right. No, so what
a
is
different
Kodai?
form of Kodai. Actually, Kodai was a guy. He was a man.
Oh, okay.
His first name was Zoltan, which isn't that a great name?
Really?
He was a Hungarian composer and ethnomusicologist. So he did part of what he did that was so significant was he went into sort of the outside of the city, rural.
Okay, yeah.
There we go, finding the words.
Yeah.
And he collected music of gypsies.
Oh.
Really kind of
Out there stuff.
Yeah.
Esoteric.
And he made it was a really important a contribution he made to music. And then through a process of really gaining an appreciation for the music of his mother tongue, and also training musicians, what he came to believe was that music should be started very, very young. The younger, the better.
Like even in the womb.
He didn't.
Yeah, no, not quite there. But
I'll have to Google Kodai and womb
Yeah,
and see if there's any connection.
And if you see tuna in there,
of course.
me.
I think he might have found that tuna somewhere in the
Yeah.
Mediterranean Sea
Like,
somewhere.
But young, like 1 year,
So
1 year
young,
old, 2
like
years?
a preschool.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
2, 3 years old, when they're old enough to sort of hear and repeat back. So, so it should be started as young as possible. It should be started with song because that is the most natural instrument we have as musicians. We all have it. And it should be started with music that is culturally and ethnically relevant. So folk music, singing, and young children. It was just right up my alley.
Yeah, yeah.
And so it's the Kodai philosophy, and I'm by far not the only one to have embraced it. It's an internationally embraced philosophy and methodology of teaching young children. But
is that sort of like the Suzuki method in any way, or similar, or
not really? I mean, it's it's in the same category, I suppose you could say, but it really, unlike the Suzuki method where the instrument is in the hands and you play without really connecting it to literacy.
Right.
In the Kodai method, it's all experience, 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 and through a really neat process of teaching music literacy. Then after kids have experienced it, they become aware of it.
Right.
Rather than, talk from the top down, it's really from the inside out, and it's all singing. So
Nice.
yeah, it's had a big impact on my philosophy as a teacher for sure.
We'll continue on inside,
Let's
shall we?
do it, yeah.
Do you do coffee?
I definitely do
Yay.
coffee. Here?
Sure.
Okay.
You choose.
Well, there's cream on this table, so let's go here.
You go here. You sit here.
Oh,
Yeah, let's sit here. This is mine.
Bossy.
Mine.
bossy.
That's good.
Oh,
Where were we?
oh, I'm just
Where
going to
were-
grab a spoon if that's all right.
Yes, grab a spoon, milady. I've been watching a lot of Downton Abbey.
Oh,
Yes.
have you seen the finale yet?
No, well, not the finale, no. But I mean, the last, I'm on the last season.
Yes.
As you know.
Well, you'll have to let me know what you think of the
Oh,
last episode.
did you watch it all?
Just
then?
2 nights ago?
Really, the whole thing?
The whole
dear.
thing. Well, the whole episode.
Isn't it? It's actually a phenomenal series, really.
I
really enjoyed it.
And I
Because,
really
yeah.
like saying Mr. Bates. Drives my family crazy. Yes,
Yes.
Mrs. Patmore. Like that.
Very good. You do a lot of accents, don't you?
Not really.
No, not really.
I can do it for about 2 sentences, and then it becomes some sort of mid-Atlantic smush. It can't be.
Yes, I understand. I like Mr. Carson. I'd love to. Boy, I wish I had a voice like him. Maybe I'd have lasted in radio a little longer. Yes. He's a kind of the. He's that kind of a jerk, actually, in a lot of ways, but still, very dedicated to his.
Well, he's
family.
also an elitist.
Right.
Which is so. I've been drawing parallels between him and Mary.
Oh.
Lady Mary.
Yeah.
Yes. So I like them both. I also
Yeah.
kind of dislike them both. So
Very
it's
nice.
a bit of a love-hate relationship. Well,
Well,
not
enough.
hate, but
Enough of Downton Abbey,
Okay.
really. Let's talk about it. Now, where were you? You went to. Okay, you got your degree with Tuna Man.
let me just be clear that Zoltan Kodai is no longer living,
Okay, sorry.
and
okay.
he wasn't actually one of my instructors.
No.
But I read lots of his books
so-
and books about him
And
at
so-
Dalhousie. Yeah.
So then you got your degree in from Halifax.
Yeah.
And then what happened after that?
And then I went to UBC,
Wow.
and I
you've been
did.
all over.
Well, I've
Yeah.
been coast to coast.
Yeah.
And I did a master's degree in visual and performing arts and education, and
Yeah.
that was really
Yeah.
fantastic.
And then?
Then I was planning on carrying on to do my doctorate, and I discovered I was going to have a baby instead.
Oh, really? Good.
Yeah.
So and you never did get your doctorate?
No, I never
Did you?
did because it just kind of life just didn't take me there.
Yeah.
And I'm still very involved at the university. I teach music education courses, and I supervise music education students, and I'm really very involved in the conservatory.
Right, of course.
It just feels like it's just right.
good. Well, let's talk about your choirs. I mean, they're really. I mean, you look at you, smile, and it just brings you so much joy, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really
and it's
does.
just so obvious when you perform with them, and just seeing what you get out of them, whether they're phenomenal or not. It's the joy of the whole process for you and music, isn't it?
It really
Yeah.
is. I just can't. When I drive into rehearsals, I have the same feelings as everybody when you're going to work. Some days you're really excited about work, and some days you just want to stay home and watch Downton Abbey.
Yes. Yeah.
But when I pull into the Casa parking lot and I
Yeah.
think about who I'm going to see and what we're going to do, I just can't believe I get to do that job.
Yeah.
It's just so much fun,
And 'cause
so
you've been doing it
gratifying.
how many years now?
I took it over from Lottie Austin,
Right.
who had started it, and she was doing it for a few years. I'm not sure exactly when she started it. And then she moved on into a different career stream, and I was asked to take it over, and that was 1996.
96.
So that's
Oh,
20 years.
Wow, isn't that something?
It's-
So you've seen a lot of these kids have
Yeah.
grown into mature
Mm-hmm.
and people who have gotten their degrees in music as well, right? So that must be so gratifying.
It really is, yeah. It's just, I don't know. I think music should be joyful.
Yeah.
Whether you're going, and it should bring you joy when you're
Yeah.
making it.
Yeah.
And when you're helping others to make it too.
Yeah.
And whether someone is going to choose that to be a career path, it's highly unlikely.
Yeah.
But I think it makes life more beautiful.
Sure.
I know that just sounds so trite, but I really mean that.
Oh, and I totally believe you too.
Yeah.
And you've got 3 choirs? How many?
I do. So there's a children's choir of children.
Right.
Very aptly named.
Yeah.
Took me a long time to think of
Yeah,
that.
good one.
And they're ages 6 to 10-ish.
Yeah.
And then we've got the youth singers, which how that came about was the children's choir, which your daughters, 2 of your
Yes, yeah,
daughters were
yeah.
in, got just to be, the age difference got to be too significant. So the difference between a 6-year-old and a 12-year-old, it was just musically and
Yeah.
pedagogically and just, the material, it just became, that gap was too big to bridge. And I was losing the interest of the little ones and the older ones.
Right, right.
So then we split off into the youth singers. And then that was 10 and 11 and up. And then we had the same thing happen with the older singers.
Right.
So then it was 12 to 14, 15, 16. And I distinctly remember, so then in that little group there were about 10 or 11 who wanted to do more challenging music. So we'd come to my basement.
Oh.
And we just kind of do, we'd sing 1 or 2 pieces. And one of them hung around at the end and said, wouldn't it be really great if you had a choir for older people?
Oh, really?
Older kids? And so that became the Encanto Singers. But I have to say, before the Encanto Singers had a name, well, they were nameless. I did refer to them as the senior choir, and they didn't like that.
No.
Took me a while to go, what's the problem? You're older than
Sure.
youth, that makes you senior, but they...
And the children's choir didn't care.
That's right. So we had we worked on getting a name for a good semester, maybe even the first year. Liza Minnelli Singers, Kathy's Crazy Choir Kids, all with a K.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Theme going on.
Yeah.
And some other various non-suitable names. And so then for a while I was called them the worst choir ever because I thought set standards and expectations really low. So I couldn't wait to introduce the worst choir ever.
Yeah.
And then we came up with the Encanto Singers.
So is that Latin? Encanto, or what is that?
It's Latin, it's Italian, it means song, it means enchanting.
Oh,
So it just was a good fit. And so now that choir is our largest, actually. And the deal is supposed to be anywhere from 16 to younger than me.
Oh.
But to be honest with you, we're starting to push that envelope.
Oh,
a little
really?
bit. Mm-hmm.
You're getting over 30. Oh, and she laughed. Sorry, Mrs. Patmore.
Yes, it was 1996 when I started this choir.
That's cool. So you're very busy with that.
It's busy good. And actually the children's choir, one of the people who has been in the choir she's 24, I think. Her name is Nicole Garlock. So she was married a couple years ago. It used to be Nicole Stewart. She had been singing with me since she was 12 and started off, just was very talented and clearly wanted to be a teacher. So she did her Bachelor of Music and Education at the university. Yeah. And then when she graduated, I asked her if she wanted to take over the children's choir.
Oh, nice.
And so she does, I'm the artistic director, so I help her with things like music choices and sometimes come in and just work with the kids. And
Great.
Just because it's fun. But for the most part, she's the conductor of that group.
And you're still having fun.
Still having fun.
That's great.
Yeah, I really am.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
What about all of the musical theater that you've done in the past? And it was so fun to get to work with you a few times.
Yeah.
Are there some shows that you still want to do, that get to and do a role that you get your chops into?
Oh, I would really love to do Mamma Mia. Wouldn't that be great?
Oh, wow.
See that on stage?
Who would you be?
Well, the mama. No. I don't know who I would be, but I just think it's such a fun show. There aren't a lot of shows that in my opinion, in a meaningful way are really just about women in the prime of their lives.
Sure.
It's often about the relationships. It's often about the younger characters. I just really like that about Mamma Mia. So it's not necessarily that I would want to be in it, although of course I would love to. But I just think that show is fun.
Actually, when I first saw it, I was amazed that they were able to incorporate a story with all of the ABBA songs. And it just worked out.
It shouldn't work.
Yeah, but it did.
But it really did, yeah. And I've seen it on stage, and I'm a little embarrassed to say.
You loved it? No.
No, I'm embarrassed to say I loved the movie.
Oh.
Like 5 or 6 times. don't know what it was. Maybe it was Colin Firth. It's hard to say.
Well, we'll leave it at that.
We'll just leave it at that.
I want to talk about the business that you've got in town. It's doing really well, and you know, one of these businesses that Lethbridge is. I mean, who knew that you were doing? Tell us what you guys do, who it is, and what you've got. Some of the big things you've got going on.
Well, we started off. It's my husband's company. He owns it with Keith Ginter, and both of them are Lethbridge people. And then another one of their partners is Nick Curry, and he's in Winnipeg.
Right.
And it started off as a little web development company. And we just did websites for local companies mostly. We started doing some nonprofits and started to branch out a little bit, and we were almost exclusively doing websites. And I came on board to help them out with some copy stuff.
Sure.
The girls were little, and it kind of worked for me to help out, and it was pretty flexible. And then in about 2004, 2005, we started working with a credit union in Lethbridge, actually. We did their website and started to see some of the challenges they were having. So we started to work on them with some solutions for those some technology solutions to overcome those problems. And then that sort of blossomed from there. I mean, there's more to the arc than that, but the short of it is that we really found that we really liked working with credit unions. And the more we got to know how they worked, I mean, there's a philosophical piece, but then there was they're small businesses too.
Right.
Trying to compete in a very large playing field. And so they turned to us, a bit at a time, and then it's really sort of gathered some critical mass to help them overcome some technological problems.
Right.
And so now we work exclusively with credit unions and financial institutions.
And we're talking not just Lethbridge.
No, we're talking Canada.
But that's what is amazing. You can just say, I want to live in Lethbridge. I don't want to go to the big city. This is where I say, and you're able to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so our team develops. If you wanted to open an account online,
right.
Not your online banking where you pay your bills, but the part where you say, that's a great checking account rate. I want to open that account. So we've developed a solution so you can do that from your phone or your laptop or and you can do it from anywhere. And
of course you have to have security.
All the security
and
to make sure that when you're opening the account that you're Mark Campbell and not someone else.
Yeah.
So there's all those assurances and validations. And it's very cool. It's really grown, and it's a very niche sort of fintech company, I guess is what Third Stream has become.
And it's called Third Stream.
Third Stream, yeah.
And that's just that nobody knows about you in Lethbridge necessarily,
Yeah.
But that's not necessarily a bad thing. But we should say way to go.
Well,
that's cool.
It's we've had very little attrition in terms of our team, so we're holding steady through this challenging time that Alberta is going through right now, and we're proud of that. And client by client, we're just growing, and it's really neat because we really are a grassroots sort of company, but we think big.
Yeah, sure.
But we conduct ourselves in a small, sort of very integrity-based sort of company.
And you're in a beautiful historic home now. Tell us about that.
We are in Norse House, which Rhonda Reston bought back in the 90s, and she turned that into her office/home. She was a lawyer. I think she still is a lawyer, but she's not in Lethbridge anymore. And then that was Michael Dimnick took that over, and then when he was joining a different firm and sort of looking to slow things down, then we took that building over. And it's a very cool building.
Yeah, it's on 3rd Avenue,
really,
right? Yeah.
4th
Avenue,
4th Avenue and 12th Street.
Nice. Are there ghosts there? Have you heard?
Our team talks about them. I've yet to see one.
Oh, they do hear. They do feel that there's some.
They do.
Really? Do you believe in ghosts, by the way? Do you at all?
No, I really don't.
No?
No.
Just doesn't.
No,
nothing
because
weird
I'm afraid of everything. So if I allow those thoughts to enter my stream of consciousness, I'm in trouble.
So anyway, you've got all this is still going on. You're a long way from retiring or anything like that. What do you see as the future for the next 5-10 years or so?
So what's next?
Yeah. Anything big? When your kids are getting older and they're growing up and having kids too, I imagine.
Well, not yet.
No.
My son, who refuses to, which doesn't seem reasonable to me now.
Yeah.
He actually is hopefully going off to graduate school this fall and going to live a wonderful, fun, exciting life. as a mid-20-something guy, so
Yeah.
I hope he just has the chance to do that.
I
And
sure hope he doesn't drink when he's away.
I'm sure he will not.
Oh, good. Phew, okay.
What are you talking
I
about?
don't know.
And our daughters are 13 and 15,
Yeah.
so we're good on waiting on that. So
Good. Yes,
kids
I would hope so.
No, I'm not sure. I mean, I want to just keep doing this choir stuff. I love the things I do at the university. I really just love everything I do. Sometimes I do too much of it and I get a little exhausted. I love the work I do with our company as creative director, and I think I'm really built for that.
Good.
I loved teaching in the schools, but and I loved it very much. But when I went back to kind of a little bit of this, a little bit of that, bip in, do this,
Yep.
zip out, do that.
Zippity-bop-bop-boo.
It's really enlivening
Yeah,
for me.
fantastic.
So whatever, I just feel like opportunity comes,
Good.
and if I want to take it, I will. It's unfolding pretty nicely.
I need to ask some advice.
Okay.
I'm due because you're into music.
Yes.
I'm reprising the role of Judas.
I
in
heard.
Jesus Christ Superstar in
Congratulations.
October. But I'm 60, and I'm 60 years old, and I'm probably going to call me the Fat Judas. But anyway, but recurring role. But I feel with the voice sometimes it feels like it's gotten to an old voice, old person voice. Is there anything I can do about that? Trying to hit those notes.
Well, I mean, voices do age,
Yeah.
unfortunately, and I mean, it's just all of our physiology just changes with age, but we also get smarter.
Do we?
Yes.
So
And so,
how do we do that?
You know what I'd say to you is just really think about how the instrument works.
Yeah.
Go back to the basics, the breathing and the articulation and the
Right.
getting the opening up the throat and some voice instruction might not be a bad idea, just to rework some of those fundamentals, because you can overcome it, but
Can
it
you?
is
It's just, I mean, because I do find myself in the last couple of years when there's a certain note that I'd hit
Yeah.
that at one time I had no problem with, but then
Yeah.
you get to it and it just goes flat, and I don't know why that. It just frustrates me.
I think they changed the music.
Did they? That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank heavens. Kathy
sure.
Matkin Clapton, Eric's brother and sister. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mark. This is awesome.